The Battle of Athens, Tennessee, when U.S. veterans took up arms against corruption. In August 1946, in the small town of Athens, Tennessee, a group of battle-hardened World War II veterans took up arms against their own local government. This was not a foreign war. It was a rebellion against political corruption, voter suppression, and decades of unchecked abuse of power. For years, McMinn County had been ruled by a political machine controlled by Sheriff Paul Cantrell and his allies. Under his administration, elections were systematically rigged. Deputies were paid per arrest through a fee system that encouraged false charges and extortion. Tourists and locals alike were routinely harassed and fined. Citizens were intimidated at the polls. Ballot boxes were often seized before counting. Dissent was silenced through threats, violence, and incarceration. After returning from the battlefields of Europe and the Pacific, thousands of local veterans were outraged to find their hometowns under the control of corrupt officials. They had risked their lives to defend democracy abroad, only to return to a place where democracy no longer existed. In response, they formed the GI Non-Partisan League, a group of former soldiers determined to restore justice at home. In the lead-up to the county election on August 1st, 1946, tensions were high. The veterans fielded their own candidates, including Knox Henry for sheriff. They requested federal oversight of the elections, but no help arrived. On Election Day, violence erupted. Deputies assaulted and arrested GI poll watchers. One African-American man, Tom Gillespie, was shot in the back while attempting to vote. Ballot boxes were confiscated and transported to the county jail, where Cantrell's deputies locked themselves inside to count the votes in secret. As night fell, the veterans armed themselves with rifles, pistols, and even dynamite, some taken from the National Guard armory. They surrounded the jailhouse and demanded the release of the ballot boxes. The deputies refused. A gunfight broke out in the center of town. Over several hours, hundreds of rounds were exchanged. Just before dawn, the veterans threw dynamite at the jail's entrance, forcing the deputies to surrender. Miraculously, no one was killed. The ballots were recovered and counted publicly. The GI candidates won in a landslide. Knox Henry was declared the new sheriff. In the days that followed, the corrupt deputies were fired. Illegal gambling dens were shut down. Public offices were cleaned of Cantrell loyalists. The veterans implemented reforms, including capping public official salaries and abolishing the arrest-for-profit system. For a brief moment, the people had reclaimed their democracy, yet the legacy of the Battle of Athens is rarely taught. It was one of the few armed uprisings in American history where citizens fought not against the federal government, but to preserve its core values. These veterans did not seek power. They demanded justice. They fought tyranny both abroad and at home, and won. Their story remains a powerful reminder that democracy is not self-sustaining. It requires courage, sacrifice, and sometimes the willingness to stand up and fight when the system fails.